guys, do you know who's awesome? Superman's awesome.
Yeah, Superman. The Big Blue Boy Scout. The strongest man on Earth. The Man of Steel. Now, I know a lot of you don't like Superman because you say he's boring and he's overpowered and there's no dramatic weight with him. But you can all go to the negative zone because Superman's great. He is everything that every hero is trying to be. He is strong enough to do anything, fast enough to be there in time to do it, always knows the right thing from the wrong thing.
Now, okay, I will grant you that Superman is not exciting when his dilemma is just fighting someone. After all, I've already said he's strong enough to do anything. But I think that just makes it a challenge for his writers to come up with a really good story about the man who's all about truth, justice, and the American way. With that in mind, today we're going to talk about that time he was a communist. This is Red Son!
That's right, Red Son. This three-part graphic novel written in April of 2003 is one of the most unique and well-executed stories that I have ever read. This story is about what would have happened had Superman landed on the collective farm in Soviet Russia instead of in Midwestern America. It draws great parallels to the US arms race, only with the roles reversed. America is trying to desperately come up with a suitable answer for Superman, even going as far as to employ star scientist Lex Luthor to try to create new superhumans to try to oppose the Soviet Man of Steel. So let's start off with what the graphic novel does right. The major characters are almost all memorable, especially Superman and Lex Luthor. Superman is unstoppable as ever, but that's kind of the point in this story. He's superior to everyone else in almost every way, but the dilemma comes from wondering what really is the greater good. He doesn't want to lead the Communist Party, but when he finds his friend Lana in the food line, he decides that it's what's best for everyone. That sums up his whole journey here, and even at his creepiest, which we'll get to in a minute, you can still see good old Superman under the utilitarian ideas.
And of course, you can't have a badass DC novel without...
Batman and the Green Lantern are almost scary awesome, with the Dark Knight being a freedom fighter whose parents were killed for printing propaganda against the party, while the Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, is an ex-POW from Vietnam who, to cope with his torture, built a prison in his mind in real time. That means digging every part of the foundations, laying every brick, putting in every single bolt.
That is terrifyingly hardcore.
That brings me to something else that this graphic novel does fantastically well, and that's build-up. We're really shown that these people are as larger than life as they say they are, without really having to just be told that Lex Luthor is a genius or that Superman is really strong. And of course, the story itself is pretty amazing. If you ever see Mark Miller, give him a hug or at least a pat on the back from me. The complex examination of nature versus nurture here is a kind of deep underlying subject that you rarely see in comics these days. The ending here is also pretty incredible, but I won't spoil it for you.
Now for the things that don't work in the novel, and I'm perfectly willing to admit that there's a good chunk that falls under that category.
Sadly, though the build-up is awesome, it tends to lead to a lot of letdowns, especially in Lex Luthor and, spoiler alert, Hal Jordan. For as much as we're shown how Lex Luthor is an incredible genius, he doesn't really seem to be able to apply that knowledge when the time comes. For example, his first plan involving Superman is to bring a satellite, Sputnik 2, crashing into Metropolis, so that Superman will fly in and catch it, because that will somehow get him Superman's DNA.
What? You mean to tell me that with all of Luthor's knowledge and government backing, he could not have come up with a more subtle and more definite way than that? How does that even get Superman's DNA? And here's the real kicker. He literally asks the US government for funding for this plan that put millions of lives at risk. How did that conversation go down?
Then the satellite shall fall, at which point Superman will catch it and I will get his DNA.
So, Mr. Luthor, you want us to put millions of lives at risk on the off chance that a superhuman who we just found out about will come save the day, even though we don't know if he's capable or willing to avert the catastrophe?
Yes, the masterstroke of a genius, no.
Well, I can't see anything wrong with that. Welcome aboard. Why would they count on Superman even helping the US, the greatest threat to his home country? And almost all of Luthor's other plans involve just cloning Superman's DNA over and over, hoping that the new Monster of the Week will be able to take him down. That's really a letdown for what Lex Luthor's been built up to be this whole time.
But I digress. Hal Jordan is also kind of a letdown, but really through no fault of his own. He gets stopped because while his willpower and mental discipline may be scary good, his thought-powered ring is no match for Superman, who is 10 times faster than thought.
10 times faster than what? Come on! 5 minutes ago I was trying to defend how overpowered Superman was, but that's just dumb.
The minor characters aren't anything special either, especially Lois Lane and Wonder Woman. Lois is married to Lex Luthor in this piece, and although she hints at attraction to Superman, it doesn't go anywhere. She doesn't even leave Luthor. Her only purpose is just to be another familiar face. To some extent, that's also true for Wonder Woman, though I know she's supposed to be a peer for Superman and a potential love interest, but her character just comes out as flat and vapid, which is definitely not what Wonder Woman should be. The romance between them also goes nowhere because Superman is denser than a brick here. I know he said his character was great, and he is, but boy, he is an idiot. Wonder Woman is practically throwing herself at his feet, and he's almost totally oblivious to it. Even when he's turning his opponents into obedient cyborgs, he doesn't feel like he's pushing any kind of ethical boundaries. One could also argue that Jimmy Olsen in this universe's CIA agent is also kind of useless, but I would say that he serves as someone for Luthor to talk to, avoiding pointless narration. Does he do anything? No. But I can see why he's there, so I'll let it slide.
Despite what I've just said, all in all, this is a great graphic novel. Is it flawless? No. And the flaws that are there are pretty big, but they don't wreck the story, which as a whole is a fantastically written piece. If you ever have the time, check it out, because if I've learned anything from all this, it's that alternate universes are awesome.
My lord, it would appear that Universe 2 Mike has failed.
Disappointing and entirely unexpected.
What would you have me do?
I will not underestimate him again. I want you to handle the situation personally.
As you wish.
The world at the heart of the multiverse will be mine, and no one is going to stand in my way, least of all